walking through streets that I did, walking with you in my head. My feet are so tired, my brain is so wired. The clouds are weeping. Did I hear someone tell a lie? I'm walking through streets that I've been, walking with you in my head. My feet are so tired, my brain is so wired. I'm walking through streets that I've been, walking with you in my head. My feet are so tired, my brain is so wired, and the clouds are weeping. Did I hear someone tell a lie? Did I hear someone's distant cry? I spoke like a child, you destroyed me with your smile. Well, everything happens for a reason, and because I don't edit my videos, you can see what those reasons are, and so you can study the process that I use to determine whether something's a mistake, an error, or needs to change, and when everything's right and when things need to end. Because you'll see that when I started off, the singing, there were some fake notes coming out of my voice, so I realized that I was singing, there was something wrong, I should stop singing. And so I did that and then realized that I was in the wrong place. And I know that anyway because I made the recording of my guitar. You see, the dog's barking. Terrible guitar recording because I played the guitar in that corner and I could hear the backing track, but the guitar was coming out somewhere else in the room, and the guitar got recorded so strong that it overpowered the backing track, so it just sounded terrible. It sounded better where I was sitting. It's obviously not a good place to sit there. The acoustics are no good, and so you have to play louder, sing louder than what you'd have to do, than what you really need to do for you to hear yourself properly over there. So I moved over here, that was fine, except the camera was in the wrong place. And so I shifted the camera, and when I got to the final B7th chord, I made a mistake, because at that point there was a lie. When people make a mistake, it shows that they're telling a lie. So people go when they're speaking. Everything they're saying is just rubbish. And so if people understood that, we could laugh these people off the stage and get on with making a better world. But because people who talk rubbish, lies and that are allowed to talk in front of the camera and they're not pulled up because of their fake speaking with a forked tongue, they used to call it, the Indians used to know about it, it's called speaking with a forked tongue. Their tongue makes mistakes and so it's forked. It's the dog. Okay, so I made a mistake on the B7th because it says, the B7th, the word at that point was, you destroyed me with your smile. And it's not true. I'm not going to get destroyed because of what I'm saying, what I'm doing on the videos. I'm not going to get destroyed. And so, because it's a lie, I can't sing those words. And so, it's necessary always to change the words that we're singing or leave them out. And I think you'll notice if you look at some of the other parts of the video, I did leave some of the words out. And I did stop the song before I got to that point in the other takes. And this one I just went past that point to show you and to show me that the song was meant to end at that point. And I'm not making the songs to entertain you. I'm obviously making the songs to educate people on a new kind of science, really, a higher level of science than what the quote scientists are working on, which is really the opposite. It's really on superstition and study of witchcraft, really, and which will take us all, will poison the whole planet in the end, because that's what witchcraft is. It's all about poisoning. They are slanderers and poisoners. That's what witches are. So that's the old definition of witchcraft. And you know, we presume that our ancestors were kind of some stupid people, but they weren't. They were at the forefront of science, and there was a science of witchcraft once upon a time. People understood what witchcraft was a lot more than what we do now. And so according to science, there's no such thing as witchcraft, because, well, that's what they are. They don't know it, they just have to be it. Now, I'm going to stop the video now, I'm going to shift rooms, but that's just really the start of it. I'm going to talk to you about what I found out this morning about the religion of science. Okay. You can see I got my hat on. I got my hat on because, one, the temperature in the room is a bit cold. I'm having my morning hot chocolate, and I'm sort of considering turning the heating on actually, although it is a bit expensive at the moment, the heating, and it's good to do our bit and try to use it as economically as possible, because of course the country's going through a difficult patch because of its license to kill, really. I suppose this is why I played this song on my previous video. You can see the words there, license to kill. It's sitting in front of me here, and there's a big atomic bomb going off over there. And it's necessary to take away man's license to kill. And this license to kill is owned by the governments of the world. And what they do is they put guns, they manufacture weapons, guns, put them in the hands of young boys and send them off into wars to kill. And they believe that they have some kind of license to do this. And I say that they have no license to kill. And any making of killing machines is completely illegal, and sending people to use killing machines in wars is also completely illegal. So in this moment I take away their license to kill by telling you guys what you need to do, because they have no license to kill. And if they force you to go and kill, nobody can force you to go and kill, nobody. And if they say, well, if you if you don't go and kill, we're going to put you in prison or something like that. It's better to just accept whatever happens to you, because it's going to be better in the long run, because nature doesn't support this license to kill business. The sun's coming out now. And the way that we take away their license to kill is we just refuse to do it. And so we just don't go and kill, because you cannot do it anymore. I'll tell you why. Because the scientists are using nuclear waste in the bullets. They're putting nuclear waste in the bullets. And so anybody who goes onto a battlefield, is involved in any battlefield anywhere, is exposed to nuclear radiation, can destroy them forever. And it's not a matter of being killed, it's a terrible pain and suffering that one's going to have to go through for years and years and years afterwards, after being exposed to this, the most demonic, poisonous substance in the world, which is the nuclear waste. This is the most poisonous stuff, and this is the ultimate in witchcraft. To create this stuff, to create this poison, that is the ultimate highest form of witchcraft. The craft of witches, the craft of poisoning the planet. I'm going to take 5, and I'm going to put my jumper on, and I'm going to finish my cuppa. Now, to get back to what we started the video off with this morning, I was doing some research, and part of that was to go onto a Chinese newspaper website, and I found something about the meeting of some group of scientists meeting in Shanghai. And it said in the article, in the Chinese newspaper, if you like, it said that it was a non-government organisation, an NGO. I thought, goodness me, what's an NGO? What do the Chinese do? Do the Chinese have their own NGOs? I thought, I couldn't believe this, you know, because China's supposed to be run by the Chinese Communist Party, and then everything's supposed to come on. You wouldn't expect them to have NGOs, non-government organisations, because what would they be for? These are globalists, aren't they? And so I actually went and studied this name. I found the name of the organisation, went on Wikipedia and studied it, found their website, and found their main guy, the head of this guy, the guy heads it all up, and I found a video of him talking, and it was the most diabolical video I've ever played. It was kind of like this continuous lie that was being told without a straight face, but with very, very terrible demonic music going in the background. And so I'm going to play a little bit of this video for you, not all of it, just some of it, and then I'm going to talk about it.
I will speak about basic science, the hope of human progress. The World Laureates Association is devoted to the support of science worldwide. It is science that separates us from a primitive condition, and it is science that may, in the future, be the salvation of mankind.
So I think the important thing to note there is the music, and you'll see that when I'm making videos like this, I don't put music on at the same time. It's nothing but a distraction, and this particular video is the most distracting musical background that I've ever heard on any video in my whole life. So it's sort of a sign that nature's made to say, hey man, this is really, really, really bad stuff. And so what we've got here is we've got a propaganda video. This is what they do with propaganda. You know you're watching propaganda when it's got music running in the background whilst you're trying to listen to what's being said. This is more and more the trend these days. Even movies, proper movies, they end up playing noisy background music over some kind of the dialogue, that you try and listen to the dialogue, and they've got some like stupid music going at the same time. And it is eerie to watch this stuff. It's creepy, that's the word, it's creepy, it's creepy. And so you've got this guy who's the head of this NGO saying that science, his group, which is the highest group of science in the world, these are the Nobel laureate and all the winners, the other NGOs, there's NGOs that have awarded prizes, various NGOs award prizes, and then all the prize winners that the NGOs awarded to it, it's not like, you have to be of their mindset. They won't award you a prize if you're not one of them, you understand? And so these are all pre-vetted people who are part of this new religious order called science, if you like. And they believe that they are the salvation of mankind. As you can hear, this is what this guy is saying. Now, is this guy an altruist? Does he do things for money, or does he do things for altruistically for the good of China? Is he working for the good of China, or is he working for some other good? And so I did a little bit of investigation. It turns out he's heads up of many corporations, money-making corporations. And one of those money-making corporations is, and also patented, these corporations are developed around patents. So what they do is, they do the science, then they patent the science, and then they make money out of the patents. And so this guy has patented a radiation vest that you can put on, and it doesn't stop you being radiated, it just prevents you from like totally dying from it. And so he's patented the invention of a radiation vest. And now he's selling the radiation vest to the military forces throughout the world so that they can have protection from radiation, because they're going to be like filling the world full of radioactive waste by firing all these radioactive projectiles into the environment. You understand, this guy is the head poisoner, the chief poisoner of the whole world. Now, I'll put some information on the screen about him, his name and the organisation details and so on. So if you want to, you can find out a little bit more. But you know, wherever you look for this stuff, is all you see is good altruistic stuff. But what it is the most evil, terrible, fake religion that the world has ever known since Christianity walked the earth. Now, I'm going to tell you next a story of what happened to the New Zealand people, the Maori people of New Zealand, how they used religion to take over the country. And it seems to me that that's the same thing is going on in China. That's why this organisation is in China. Okay, but let's look at the New Zealand picture first, and I'll let you develop your own ideas about whether they're there in China for these kind of purposes. But I'm going to tell you what happened in New Zealand not that long ago, because the New Zealand people were the last people to be colonised in the last wave of colonisation that destroyed many of the indigenous cultures of the world. So I'll take 5 and then we'll come to that subject. I've just been watching the movie Whale Rider, which gives a little bit of a picture of the state of religion, if you like, in Maoriland or New Zealand with the Maori people. There's another movie called Once Were Warriors. If you watch both of these movies, you get a pretty good idea of what happened to, what became of the Maori people. when the first Europeans arrived in the 1800s, I suppose, was the beginning of it, the Maori people welcomed them because that is the nature of indigenous cultures, is their welcoming of visitors. The highest thing in the world, in the natural order, is your visitors. And in all great civilizations, visitors have been given top priority. And if you look at the state of the modern world, where visitors have to come escape from foreign lands on little boats, and then how they're welcomed into countries, exported to remote parts of the world to get rid of them, you'll see that our treatment of visitors is not really what it once was. And so we live in a foreman social order which is a product of a religion. Now, a religion is simply how we view the world, how we live according to what are our beliefs about life, about death, about behaviour, about what's right and wrong, about good and evil. This is our religion. And you can't say that people don't have a religion. All people have a religion. Everybody has a religion. Their religion might be survival of the fittest. That might be their religion. But it is a religion. It's something that they live their lives according to. Now, in time, all religions become fallen. And in the natural order, new people are sent into the world to create new religions. So, for example, in 500 BC, Buddhism was started by the Buddha, who came into the world and discovered some new teachings and gave them to the people. 500 years later, we have the Jesus thing, and I'll put a little bit of a diagram here. And so we've got the evolution of religion, which goes from Buddhism. I've put it into 500-year cycle because that's the easiest way to understand it, if you like. And you've got Buddhism preceding Christianity by 500 years. Early Christianity evolved into a new kind of religion called chivalry. Chivalry was the thing that came out of the early religion. That was the next level, if you like. Now, in between these two, Catholicism started to raise it. For 500 years, Catholicism was monasticism, and out of monasticism rose everything that comes out of it. Both science and chivalry came out of the previous thing. And so, around about 1500 AD, science became the religion of the day. Science started to become the way that people lived their lives according to developments in science. And round about the end of the period, in the 1890s, something like this, 1900, the New Age religion appeared as teachings of the Theosophists, Theosophical Society, the Anthroposophical Society. These are the foundations of New Age. And New Age is evolving and developing. As we sit now, it's the next thing after science. You'll find there are many, many people who have New Age philosophical leanings and live their lives according to New Age ideas, which are things like vegetarianism, peace and love and sharing, communal, this type of thing. It's a kind of a universal thing. And one of the main places it came out of was some 10 or 20 years ago, was the rainbow people and the rainbow gatherings and things like that. That was if you like, a development of New Age. And New Age is, as it's evolving, it's also falling into error and so on. But that is the future religion which will replace science. Science is finished. Now, whenever you have a new religion that overtakes a previous one, then the previous one goes through its death throes. It might take 1,000 years to process it fully. We still have Christianity being fully processed by people, And science, again, science is starting to be questioned, and this will also take 1,000 years perhaps before it's gone completely. And in this period, the New Age religion will evolve and take its place. And you know, this New Age religion is also really socialism and communism that are sort of products of that new idea of communality, if you like. And so, as it was in the origin of chivalry, it was also in communality. The communes were the first cities. So I think let's just give you an overview, if you like, to understand the religion. And always, quite often, religions become set in their ways, and it's not possible for the people living inside the religion to change the religion. And often it has to come from outside the religion. Now, what happened with the Maoris was, the Maoris became a very dark people. They were headhunters, they ate their enemies. There was a very warlike streak running through the Maori people, and there were dark as well as there were light. There was a priesthood of what they called Tohungas. There were light Tohungas and there were dark Tohungas, and the dark Tohungas were like, it was witchcraft, you know, it was like terrible stuff. And so there were, whilst there were good elements, it was their science, it was their religion. Religion is science, that's basically what it is. It's how you view the most deeper understandings of the world. And that is passed from the ancestors on to future generations. And as it becomes fallen, so the ancestors' knowledge becomes superstition, and superstition replaces what once was genuine knowledge. And often you can find the genuine knowledge is often hidden inside the superstitions. And so the Maoris had some very, very great understandings, like there's only 3 numbers in the system of numbers, 1, 2, 3, and then it starts at the beginning, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That is, the Maoris knew that. You know. So, you know, there's kind of, the Maoris were a very, very, very wise race, yet they had fallen, and they needed the Europeans to come along to give them a shaking up. Now, the way the Europeans got into New Zealand was they sent the missionaries. Now there's always, the new religion always has its spearhead, which is spearheaded by its priests, okay, and its teachers of religion. And often these are can be the wisest and the best of them, but what happens is they don't really represent their culture. They don't represent the general run-of-the-mill. They're actually an exception to the normal people living in society. So when the missionaries first came to New Zealand, they were regarded very highly by the Maoris, because the Maoris could see that they had a very high religious understanding, because Christianity is a genuine thing. If you read the Bible and listen to the words and study the words that are in that thing, it will actually enlighten you. It does the job, and the Bible can create new prophets, you know. And what happened when the Maoris were exposed to the Bible, what happened was the early missionaries translated the Bible into Maori and taught them, you know, allowed them to read the Bible. And the missionaries had a certain sort of fake understanding of the Bible, because they'd been taught the Bible by their fake teachers as the religion had decomposed over time. And so they weren't getting the full effect of the Bible. But when the Maoris read the Bible, they just got it, boom, straight between the eyes, and a lot of prophets suddenly appeared amongst the Maori people, and they started speaking the word of God and prophesying and all this kind of stuff. And the missionary said, no, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. You've got to do what you're told. You know, you can't be prophets. All the prophets died in the Old Testament. You know, you can't be that. Jesus was the last prophet. You know, this kind of thing, the same as Muhammad and all that sort of stuff. And so they were not really allowed to be religious within the actual church that the incoming peoples, the British and so on, were bringing into the country. And then the other thing was the people coming on with them, they weren't missionaries, they had very terrible behaviour. They actually raped and sexually assaulted their Maori natives and stuff like that. And so, you know, it was this dichotomy, if you like, of there was the missionaries who seemed to be good, but the fruit, the product of their religion was a corrupt culture, and drinking alcohol and all this sort of stuff. And so what happened was to follow a correct Christian life, if you like, the Maoris had to create their own churches. Yet at that time, when the missionaries and the early settlers were taking over the country, they had the Tohungas, who were real natural priests, many good ones. They used to live in nature on the edges of the village, and they used to tend sacred groves like the old Greeks used to do and stuff like that. And so they used to make perfect places of nature, go and tidy them up and make them perfect, and basically pay homage to nature. In that way we become in tune with nature. Now what the settlers did, the British, when they came in there with the missionaries, the globalists they were, when the missionaries came in as spearheaded the operation, but then you have the administrators coming in behind them, that what they did was they passed laws that you couldn't feed a Tohunga, you couldn't feed a priest. So it was actually ethnic cleansing, yeah, terrible. You couldn't feed a religious person. The highest level scientist of the Maoris, they were the Tohungas, they had the ancient wisdom and knowledge. Nobody was allowed to feed them on pain of death. And so it was a very terrible, it's not widely known that the British did this. That's how they got rid of what they called the superstitions, and introduced their own superstitions, really. And even went against the true teachings of the Bible, you know, love thy neighbour and all that sort of stuff. They didn't live that life themselves, yeah. The dog is barking. Maybe that's enough. But you get the picture of what happens. And so, as always, they use religion, the religious elites are sent in first. And that must be what's going on in China. They must have sent the religious elites into China to soften up the Chinese people ready for, you know, the ingress of globalist culture and religion into China. So, the dogs bark incessantly. That's the picture, and that's also important to understand the evolution of that, and that science is coming to a close. In its death throes, it becomes corrupted and a poisoner and a slanderer, as we can see, has become. And now this movement towards, they used to say nuclear power was a bad thing, we're going to get rid of it. Now we're going to build loads and loads of nuclear power stations because we need all the nuclear waste, because we're going to put that in bullets and projectiles and fire it at our enemies. So what I'm saying to you is don't give them a license to kill. What you have to do is refuse to get involved in any wars that anybody wants to fight. And if that means accepting whatever happens to you, believe you me, what will happen to you will be far, far better than what could possibly await you on the battlefield. And if you don't believe me, I would suggest that you watch this movie. And if you watch this movie, you will probably never ever want to go fight in anybody's war, because believe you me, there are people who want you to fight in their wars. Wars are made by people, and they're not made, the present war is not made by that terrible man Putin. The present war is made by the globalists. The globalists have an agenda for global hegemony, and their religion is science, and their scientists are religious propagandists and right at this moment involved in spreading their fake religion into many, many parts of the world. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much.
If you can just get your mind together and come on across to me, we'll hold hands and we'll watch the sunrise